This conference will now be
Okay,
recorded.
thank you all for joining us. We've got a pretty good group of people here. Let me see if I can just take a look. This is our annual club treasurer training, and we haven't done one of these for a couple of years, although we've had a recorded version out there on the web. And the goal is just to bring you up to date on everything that's happening with treasurer's position. Okay, we'll begin with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful, and kindle in them the fire of your love. Send forth your Spirit that they may be created, and that you may renew the face of the earth. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, I want to tell a little story, and then I'm going to try and turn it over to Ed here. But I became president of our club. I'm with the Des Moines Club in Des Moines, Iowa, at a fairly young age for a Serra. I think I was 52. And to be honest, I had kind of a big head. I thought, wow, I'm the president, the most important person in this whole club. And so the first thing I did is I asked, well, how many members are in our club? So I asked the vice president of membership, and they said, well, I think there's about 100, but you really ought to talk to the treasurer because he's the only one that really knows how many people are in. I thought, okay. So, and then I talked to the programs person about an event that was coming up, and I said, last year, did we make money on this with what we charged, or did we lose, or what happened? And he said, well, I think we came out okay, but you really ought to talk to the treasurer because he's the only one that really knows. And then I talked to somebody, and I said, I heard somebody was quit, and does anybody know why? And the guy says, well, you ought to talk to the treasurer because they probably know. They probably talked to him when they talked about the dues. And it became apparent to me that the treasurer is the more important person in the club than the president. And that's really the person that has all the facts. And as a matter of fact, the treasurer is the person who becomes the unofficial club archivist. They kind of know what's going on, what happened, what worked, what didn't work in the club. And so it's a very important position you hold. And I know sometimes it's overlooked. We kind of take it for granted, but it really is important. So, okay, tonight we're going to try and touch on three main areas. First, all our primary responsibilities of the treasurer. The first group is financial, and we're going to have a series of slides on those. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the annual tax filing for nonprofit status. And then we're going to talk about portal maintenance, keeping the membership list information up and the current officers. I do want to caution you about one thing here. We are not going to get into how the portal works because, as most of you know, I think, we are right now in the process of transitioning between Club Express and a new software portal called Razor's Edge. And we hope that that'll be up here by the end of August. But there'll be separate training that happens on that. My understanding from the people that have used Razor's Edge is that it's extremely easy to use and very intuitive. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal. But the essence of keeping the membership list and the officer list up is very important in either one, no matter what the portal software is. So those are going to be our overviews for tonight. That's the overview of what we're going to do. Okay, Ed, I might turn it over to you if you want to take on from here and just I'll try to keep apprised of when to switch the screens on you.
Hey, Mike, thanks for setting that up. He's very understated. He's the master trainer. His previous presentation that I was on, but Mike led it, can be found on serrausa.org. This is essentially the same presentation, updated a little bit, and so Mike did a great job setting it up. The bottom line is the treasurer is responsible for managing and reporting on the checkbook activity, along with some other responsibilities. Mother Teresa said that it takes a checkbook to change the world. And so, that's kind of what we're trying to do here is we're trying to grow in holiness together and get more priests and consecrated religious to change the world. Billy Graham was quoted as saying that give me 5 minutes with a person's checkbook and I will tell you where their heart is. And so the treasurer is basically responsible for the checkbook, managing it and reporting on it. Here's a list of the transactions. And I would say they're kind of in order of importance. Obviously, we're a membership-driven organization, and the primary responsibility, or one of the key responsibilities of the treasurer, is collect member dues by sending out invoices or using whatever process they might have in place to collect dues from their members. Then pay approved club expenses, and we really like it when the treasurers pay their US and SI dues on a timely basis. That's January 15th and July 15th of each year, and region dues, if any. We're going to go over that in a little bit more detail here in a bit. They timely deposit, payments on donations to the club, reconcile the bank account, and balance the checkbook monthly. Pretty important to balance the checkbook. Already said, manage and report on what's going on, and manage a banking relationship. We have highlighted in yellow here that it's good to have more than one authorized signer. What happens if something happens to the treasurer? We don't have somebody else that can take care of the checkbook activity. So it's important to have more than one authorized signer.
Ed, can I add in something there?
Please.
We had a club that I'm aware of down in the St. Louis area where the treasurer became medically disabled by dementia. But it turned out that he was the only authorized signer on all of the accounts at the bank. It took that club 5 months to get access to the funds that were in those accounts because of all the rigmarole you have to go through with the bank. So this isn't just recommended. This is one of these things that has to be done, I think. You got to make sure there's more than one person that's an authorized signer. Usually the other person is the president. So I just wanted to add that in, how important that is.
Thank you, Mike. That's a powerful story, and it does say assure that there's always more than one authorized signer. So let's make sure that we have that in place in all of our clubs. Next slide. Are you managing the slide deck for me, Mike?
I am. Have you got the next one up?
Very good. Okay, so the semi-annual dues, full member, $50, spouse and under, $25. The full member dues include the dues payable to Serra International in the U.S. You can see the amounts there. There's actually one invoice that comes from Serra International, and then the money gets split behind the scenes between Serra USA Council and Serra International. And then you can see in the last kind of bullet there is the initiation fee for new members is just under $13, $12.75. Hopefully we have a lot of initiation fees for new members. I know when Candace, my wife, was VP of membership, she was successful in working with clubs to increase membership. So new members, there's a $12.75 initiation fee.
It might be worth pointing out that for that initiation fee, that covers the full dues for the 6 months period that the person joins in. They also get a kit that includes a pin and a handbook and a certificate and a prayer card. So,
thank you for that, Mike. Next slide. So we get questions from time to time. Are the dues paid to Serra USA and Serra International, are those deductible as a tax donation? And the test is basically, is there a tangible financial benefit received? And here are our recommendations. The initiation fee that we just talked about is not deductible because a new member kit is basically equal to the initiation fee. However, the dues, the portion of the club dues that get paid ultimately to SI in the US, those are deductible because there really isn't any tangible benefit other than the benefit of growing in holiness together and being a member of Serra. Some might take exception, Mike, that the only tangible benefit is the Serra magazine. I don't think we want John Liston and Ann McCormick to see this, but and I think if you Google it, AI is everywhere these days. Google are club dues deductible? I think what you'll find is they are. However, club dues, a portion of the club dues are for food, then that portion of the dues would not be deductible because there's a tangible benefit that you get in turn for those dues. Non-food costs may or may not be deductible depending on whether there's any tangible benefit. So it's kind of very much a club-specific situation, but I think the bright line is the amount of the dues that a member is paying, they ultimately go to SI and US. Those are deductible by the member. Next slide. And jump in if you've got any questions as we go along, please. This is for y'all's benefit. Reporting. Reporting, very important that the treasurer report on the activity in the bank account, the income and disbursements since the last report. If there's a special event, that they bring the club up to speed on the results of that special event, something like maybe an Advent dinner or a priest recognition event, that they report on that. They should provide a bank reconciliation. And we're recommending here that this kind of goes under the heading of trust but verify. Provide an exact copy of the most recent bank statement showing the balance to the board. Things can go amiss, and I think if we hold each other accountable, that's the secret sauce of all great organizations is good governance, and good governance says that we hold ourselves accountable. So trust but verify. I think Mike has an example of where this wasn't being done, and there were some funds that I think showed up missing. Mike, I've heard you tell that story before.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share with the group. We had a club. It was a smaller club, but this happened about over a decade ago now, so it's an old example, which is good. But the treasurer kept reporting there was about $5,000 in the bank account. And then he would do his reconciliation, show what went in, what went out, and everybody, that looked good to everybody. Well, then again, it was a situation where he had a medical emergency and other people had to get in, take over his duties. And we found out instead of having $5,000 in the account, there was only $500 in the account. And that some of the money there had been used for personal purposes. The good news is that the family made good, so the club lost no money. But it's a good example of why it's important to have that exact copy of the most recent bank statement. So it may not exactly tie into yours because yours is going to cover, since the last report. But if you're saying there's about $5,000 there and the statement shows 4,800, you're about right. So it's a great way to do something. Clubs are supposed to audit this once a year. But the fact of the matter is the volunteers don't want to waste a Saturday going through a checkbook, auditing everything down to the final penny. This is just a good way to make sure that things in general can't get out of balance there. So that's the example and why we do it.
Another powerful example from our former president of the U.S., Mike Downey. Thank you. They're also responsible to report on any donations received greater than $250 that they provide the donor with a letter. That's a requirement that the IRS has out there. I believe we have an example of one of the letters that one of our clubs uses to report that to the donor. It's in the materials that were available before the meeting.
It's on page 3C of the support materials. And it has the magic language that says all contributions are tax deductible. Please retain this, and the Serra Club did not provide you with any goods or services in whole or in part for this contribution. So that's the key. Yep.
Hey, Mike and Ed.
Yes.
Yeah, this is John Kelly, Serra Club at Kokomo. I know you say here at each board meeting, what I typically do is I get a notification from the bank that the statements are available, and so I pull it right away. I send it to the board, so I don't even wait for the meeting. I just send it right at the beginning of the month when the statements are available.
That's a great idea. Great idea. And I'm going to back up 1 second, Ed, to the other examples that we have in the support documents, pages 3A and 3B. These are examples from a large club and a small club. But I just wanted to show that this reporting that takes place, this is the reporting that typically takes place at a board meeting, quarterly board meeting. And the first one is the example from the Des Moines Club, my club. It's old, but it's pretty simple. You can see there that you start with a checkbook balance as of the last report. You show the money's coming in, you show the money's going out, and then you show where the checkbook balance should be as of this particular time. Don't have to have fancy software to do these things. This is the guy that does this is actually was a managing partner of Deloitte, and he just did all this pretty much on a yellow pad every month, and then passed out copies to everybody. The second example is from what's now the Bethlehem, Pennsylvania Club, Lehigh Valley, and they use an Excel spreadsheet to do basically the same thing to show where things are at. So those are just there to examples to show you what other clubs do in terms of reports to the board. Sorry, Ed.
No, thank you. Those are, again, available. If you click on the link that was sent out for the meeting, you can follow along with Mike on the exhibits that he's referring to. I don't know, Mike, can you flip back and forth when we get to that and share your screen and share those examples? That would be good if you could flip back and forth and do that.
I don't think I can, Ed. People are going to have to rely on that printout, I think.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go on to the next slide then, if there's no questions. So we get questions about budgeting from time to time. A lot of clubs really don't do annual budgeting, but just, you simply use the prior year as the de facto budget, which is fine. The treasurer, I mean, that's a typical treasurer responsibility to do the budgeting. They also assist in financial planning for special events like the ones I mentioned previously. They're kind of the accounting financial types, so they're a good go-to to help people, kind of figure out the incoming and outgoing transactions for special events that are being planned. Just another set of eyes to take a look at things for the special events. Next slide, Mike. Record retention. Here's our recommendations here. 5 years basically for the items that are listed, and maybe a longer retention period for special events that you might want to go back to that are non-recurring, just to when you're planning that event again a number of years later, it might be a good go-to to help you plan for that event. So these are the recommendations on the record retention. Next slide. I think Mike kind of already covered this. The KISS principle. Keep it simple. And we won't just keep it simple. Simple. KISS. And we had a couple of examples that Mike talked through. A handwritten income and expense statement, a most recent bank statement for current funds balance. I see a lot of treasurers use Excel, Quicken, or QuickBooks. We're not recommending proprietary accounting software for our clubs. Don't take this the wrong way, folks, but it really isn't that complicated. So we don't need super sophisticated software to keep track of what's going on here. I wouldn't think so. Keep it simple. Next slide. Some tips or maybe some best practices. And we have an example on page 4A of the handout that's available before the meeting. But if you're the treasurer, and I guess that's what we have on this call. We have treasurers. Keep things efficient for yourself by encouraging your members to pay annually, so you don't have to follow up 2 times a year. The 4A, let me go to 4A on my computer to see what it has.
It's an attempt to show how people justify the dues in a brief period, in just a brief statement there. This is, again, it's a sample from the Des Moines Club. This goes out with a dues invoice that's sent by email. And it basically, we offer at that point the opportunity for people to pay an extra amount if they want to help contribute to a birthday fund for seminarians. But at the bottom, it gives 2020 highlights of things that the club did with the dues. So it's, a lot of times we just send out, here's what you owe, and, please send it in. It's worth taking a little bit of time just saying, here's what we accomplished the past year. And that's what that first example on 4A is supposed to show. Then we can go on down here, Ed, if you want to, and I'll chime into these others as we get there.
Yes, yeah. The next bullet is it's actually the third bullet, is invitations to special club events to include a donations option to cover clergy costs. And Mike has an example on page 4B of the handout. And especially if the member cannot attend, they could still maybe make a donation to help cover the event cost, or the cost of the clergy meal. So Mike, you might want to amplify on that a little bit for us.
What we're looking at there is the invoice, the return portion of the invoice on 4B at the bottom. And that we always put this in every single thing we do in the Des Moines Club. But if I am unable to attend, I have enclosed a donation in the amount of, and then we just leave it blank. You would be surprised how much money we get from that, from people that maybe they feel guilty they can't attend, but in this particular case, they know they're helping to pay for the costs of our priest picnic. So it's a big deal, and it's worth asking every time when you send out an invoice for some appreciation event or so forth. Or like I said, even just your dues invoice, we add on something like that for the birthday fund for the seminarians. And I think at this point we have 15 seminarians in our diocese, and we give each of them a $50 birthday check because of the money that comes in there that lets us do that. So just examples of things you might do.
That's great. That falls under the umbrella of if you don't, it doesn't hurt to ask. And sometimes results can be powerful, as Mike is describing for us. There's also the next bullet is encourage members to consider a bequest in estate plan or will toward your Serra Club. I don't know how often this might happen, but that's I think that's a good idea. I mean, we also have a Serra International Foundation that they can make donations to through a estate plan or will. So I just mentioned, I think most of us should be familiar with the Serra International Foundation. So you can make a bequest or a donation like that at the Serra International Foundation level, or you can do it at your club level as well. Mike, I don't know if you have any additional anything additional to say about that.
I've been surprised, but I know at least 3 clubs where people have passed away and left a pretty good chunk of money to the club. Sometimes to do something in particular, like maybe they want a bishop's award or something given to a priest with their name on it. But people do it, so it's worth. Like Ed said, it's worth asking. It's worth letting people reminding them. So.
And so the last bullet here is good idea to keep a key information backup notebook with bank account numbers, passwords. Be careful with the passwords, obviously. IRS and state websites used in case of need, and that notebook, make sure that at least one other person is aware of that notebook and where it is. If something were to happen to the treasurer, like Mike was sharing with us, the treasurer that got dementia. We got to have backup here. The next slide is tax filing, annual tax filing for nonprofit status. Why is it important? And we kind of covered it earlier. It allows donors to write off contributions as charitable deductions on their tax return. It also possibly prevents members of the club having to pay tax on excess income over expense if they're not tax exempt. And most of our clubs, the majority, the majority of our clubs are covered by an SI group exemption, which also covers the Serra USA Council, as well as about over 100 clubs. And so if your club isn't filing your tax return and you're covered by that group exemption, it could possibly jeopardize the SI group exemption. And so we don't want that to happen. So that's why this is important. Next slide, Mike.
You would be happy to help.
Next slide, Michael.
Is it up there?
Not yet.
Should be there.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so you got to file the correct IRS Form 990. Most clubs can file what's called the postcard return. If your income receipts are less than $50,000 a year, you can file a 990N, which is all of about a 5 or 10-minute process. I don't know how many of you might be filing, but most of our clubs are eligible to file the 990N. It has to be filed by the 15th day of the 5th month following the fiscal year. Most of our clubs have a May 31st tax year end, which means that their Form 990 is due, that would be October 15th, 4.5 months. And what I would say is, first week in June, just go ahead and if you're filing a 990N, go to your account that you established with the IRS and file it. Don't wait. Just get it behind you. Do it as soon after the tax year end as is reasonably possible. There are late filing penalties. For our clubs, I've never really seen the IRS assess this penalty. But what will happen, and we'll see this on the next slide, is if we could go there.
You got it, Ed?
I covered this. I've already covered this. And so
Okay.
if you've got any questions in filing your tax return, please contact me. So what happens if if your club doesn't file your tax returns on a timely basis? Well, if you fail to file the return for 3 consecutive years, your tax exempt status is revoked. And there's a way to reinstate it by going through either a fast track process or one that's a little bit slower. But if any clubs need to have their nonprofit status reinstated, I'd be happy to help them. I've worked with several clubs in making that happen. I think we cover that a little bit more on the next slide. Hopefully none of the treasurers on the call tonight have had their tax exempt status revoked. All right, the sales tax exemption. You can save your club's sales tax by applying for tax exempt status, sales tax exemption in the state you're in. It varies by state. It varies state to state. So, I'd be happy to help if you're not already exempt from sales tax. You just really, I think, work with the state controller's office or whatever the applicable office is in the state to get exemption from sales tax. A creative idea that Dr. Ann Rote's club in Lafayette, Indiana uses is she has permission from her diocese to use the diocesan sales tax exemption number. So that's creative. And so I guess you could do that.
Ed, I'll add in there, though, that I tried that with our diocese. They said, no way.
Yeah, I kind of agree with your diocese on that, Mike. It's nice that Dr. Ann Rote's diocese will allow for that, but I would strongly recommend that your club apply for sales tax exemption in your state, going through whatever process you have to do to get that exempt status. Next slide, Mike.
Should be up.
Association versus corporation, not tax related, but important. Recommended that when a club is formed, it forms as an association rather than a corporation unless required by state law. And that is because of the fact that if you're a corporation in a state, then a lot of states require annual or every other year requirements to file a report with the Secretary of State, along with a minimal fee. So if you don't have to be a corporation in your state, go the association route. You know, some banks and states will require that you file with the Secretary of State to be a corporation. So it's very much state dependent. And you know what? How many clubs do we have? Like almost 200 in
Yep.
a lot of different states. So there's no way I can tell you. We can tell you exactly how each state operates, but we can figure it out. We can help you if you need help with that. Next slide.
Okay, should be up.
Liability insurance. If it's required by your meeting venue, especially if alcohol is being served, wine, beer, spirits, then we can go to the U.S. Serra Council at no cost. They have a blanket insurance certificate that can be used for those meetings. That should do what needs to be done. That should do the trick. That's available on serraus.org. A lot of good information. Just go to serraus.org and you can find the treasurer's manual. You can find the certificate for the liability insurance. A lot of good information there.
Yeah, I'll add that the certificate, the application is actually listed under the tab that says Club Resources. There's a first group is frequently requested. That's often requested, so we have it listed there. One of the first things. But one thing you should know that's new and better now is we're doing these a lot faster. We have had a problem with response time, people calling us at the last minute, or we were slow getting things out from the office. I think that's gotten a lot better, but we also have a new insurance policy that allows us to provide a blanket insurance certificate for regular meetings at one venue. So if your club meets like at the social room for a particular parish, 8 out of 12 months of the year, and they require a certificate of insurance, you can get that from the Chicago office on the application at no cost, which we didn't have that ability before. It had to be by each specific event had to be covered. So it's a new, better benefit than what we had before.
Awesome. That's good. Any questions? Any questions on the liability insurance for club events? I think Mike covers it well there, but any questions before we move on? Some more about treasurer functions. Maintenance of the club membership roster and officer list. What I would say, Mike, and hopefully I'm not out of line here, but this doesn't necessarily need to be the function of a treasurer. It could be the function of a VP of membership or somebody else that the club may assign it to. The important thing is that the roster and officer list be maintained and up to date. I think as I think all of you are aware of the fact that we're moving from Club Express to Razor's Edge as our new software package, and soon we'll have tutorials available for Razor's Edge, and I would guess that it will be, well, I know it's going to be more user friendly than Club Express, because that's why we're moving to Razor's Edge.
So say, Ed, the question on Razor Edge, and this is related to the earlier comment of not investing in any software, but will Razor Edge be able to do the dues billing and invoicing? Or if not, what do you recommend to use that for? How to do the billing and collections for the dues?
Is this a billing and collection for the clubs or the?
Correct, for their clubs, because you mentioned that you don't really need QuickBooks, or someone did, Mike did, or someone that you don't need QuickBooks. But how do you do your accounts receivable management?
I'm not aware of whether or not that functionality is available, Mike.
I'm not either, but most clubs, who was that? Who's asking that question?
This is Chuck Wold, Phoenix.
Chuck, I think that most clubs use emails to send out their invoices now, with the exception of people that they know don't receive emails and they send them a hard copy in snail mail. But, and there's an example, we're jumping ahead a little bit here, but page 7A and 7B and 7C are all examples of some of the stuff that clubs send out to their members in conjunction with notice of the dues. So I don't know if Razor's Edge can do it or not. We'll find out. The real reason Razor's Edge is we're shifting over is Club Express did a halfway decent job for Serra International and Serra US, but it was not functional at all for the Serra Foundation. And all three organizations basically use the same database. And so we were having to maintain two databases, which is almost impossible to do accurately. Razor's Edge allows us to use all three entities to use the same database and to accomplish what they need to do. So that's the reason, but we've also heard from almost everybody that's easier to use. So it may have some of those functions. It does have some functions for if you're doing a dinner or even a district event to be able to generate registration invoices for those. So it may have something for clubs too, but I can't answer this question specifically, Chuck, in terms of clubs themselves.
Hey, Mike, I might just say that if what you're doing now to bill and collect for your dues for your club is working, then I would just continue with that process. And as we learn more about Razor's Edge, we'll share that with the treasurer group. But that's thank you for that question. Appreciate it.
Well, because Ed, you have a big club, and it's not something you can spreadsheet very easily.
No, it's not. It's that's probably the most. That's the biggest, the most difficult task that the treasurer has responsibility for is billing and collecting for, in some cases more than 100 members. That can be time consuming. So, it'd be nice if we had kind of a solution that worked across the board for all of our clubs. But for now, if it's working for your club, just keep doing what you're doing for now.
Okay, thank you.
Can I share something here? This is Matt Ivory in Southern California.
Yes, Matt.
Yes, of course.
I'm overdue as a treasurer. I've been involved as being a treasurer for 18 years now.
Oh my goodness.
It's a long time.
And
It can be a life sentence. Be careful.
Well, I have a replacement, but I have used Excel. But the problem is I am very good at Excel and can do stuff in Excel, and it doesn't cost me anything at all to do that. I can generate all the reports. I'll be happy to send you examples of my reports that I have done for years and years. And they provide all of the details that you have suggested. My issue is that we're seeming to kind of turning this into a just whatever checkbook kind of accounting you want will be sufficient. And I don't think that's right. I think it should be a rigorous accounting with the bank statements, whether you have it all in one bank place or in two. But in our case, Wells Fargo is our account for checking, but they they don't pay any interest at all.
Yeah.
And we have a significant amount of money just sitting there, not doing anything, and I can get $20 a month on it if I put it in a money market account.
Yeah.
With, Synchrony or various other accounts across the country. And the problem is that they're not set up to be what should I say? 501(c) entities. And so it's the savings account happens to be right now in my name because I couldn't pass up 4.5% interest on cash in a savings account.
Yeah.
So I moved $5,000 or so into that. And, it just sits there and we get, $20 a month for that. But is what I'm hearing from you saying that I shouldn't do that?
No, not at all, Matthew. And thank you for 18 years of tremendous service. We would, if you go on forever, that would be great. You're doing a fantastic
well, I have
job.
George Lucille is my replacement, and he's my shadow right now. And so he's on this call.
He is very good. Well, I'm glad your shadow is there.
Yes, Matt, I'm here. I'm here, Matt.
And Excel, I think if we were to go back to that slide, that was one of the recommendations that, I was, I've been a CPA my pretty much my entire adult life. Well, really my entire adult life. And I was in Excel every day, before I retired. So, Excel works very good. If you're big and more complicated, QuickBooks or something like that. But no, we're not recommending to dumb it down. We're recommending to do what works for the club. And Excel works very well, obviously. And it has a lot of functionality, and the functionality continues to improve and get easier to use.
I generate the exact report that the National requested in a format that is all generated automatically in Excel. And I just do it with some if statements. It's not that complicated.
Well, Matthew, you're the model. You're the model for the other treasurers. This is tremendous. I've got a question up here coming from he has a hand up. Homer.
Hey, Matt, can I throw in one caution to Matt? Matt, on that stuff where you got it in your name, make sure that the club knows that.
I have. I've told them that I moved this to Synchrony Bank 2 years ago because they had a savings account, a passbook savings account at 4.2%.
Yeah, I think what you did is perfect. Just make sure you keep the transparency there.
Yeah.
And when I do my reports every month, I do a statement from Synchrony Bank and from Wells Fargo for the checking account, and I put PDFs to both of those along with my accounting of where all the money went, income, expenses, just like the standard format showed. And those are the attachments to it, and I publish that every month.
You're doing it just right then. Just don't want to question people.
I highly recommend, personally, that an individual name only being on a savings account where he's got to pay his own income tax off of the interest is not the best way. Everything you're doing except that I fully agree with.
I totally agree with you too,
Come on.
and
Wait
it's
just
my
a moment, please. Wait. Our banks in the Kansas City area, 5 that we checked with, if you have a savings account, a checking account, you can have a money market account, you can have a CD account, you get the interest, all the interest goes to the club every month, just like your checking account. It comes to you as a report, and it's dangerous financially for the club as well as yourself to have your personal name instead of the club name, and all with the same institution. That's all I'll say.
Thank you for that comment. You can certainly, I think you can tie it all together under the umbrella of one financial institution, a checking account, a savings account, and you can get them to interact together. So that's a great recommendation to keep it with one financial institution and have it tied together. I know that's how we have our personal account set up. Everything is with one financial institution. It all kind of works together. But
Thank you.
great discussion.
Yeah, Mike, this is Mark Krejci. I'm the president of the City of Orange Club that Matt's treasurer and George is on the call. Yeah, Wells Fargo does have alternatives within the general account. For example, and we're going to talk about this, the three of us, but later on. But yeah, you can buy a 4-month CD and get 3%, 3.25% if you have a relationship account with Wells. So there are alternatives to getting more than 0.01% at your basic checking account. So we'll talk about that further. The other question I have, and Matt raised a good one. Why is it that we couldn't get a 501c3 in a savings account at another institution? I'm not clear on that.
No, I think you can. That doesn't make sense to me why you couldn't. I think this is all good news that a lot of our clubs sounds like we have excess cash that we can invest to make a little bit more money to continue to pursue our mission to promote vocations to the priesthood and consecrated religious life. So great discussion. We're going to be bumping up against the top of the hour, and Mike, I think we can have more discussion offline about this if necessary. But all great discussion and comments on this particular subject.
I think it's great that we get into the 990 and the details of the 990 for this is a specific issue for our club.
The 990?
No, the taxes. How to do the taxes.
Oh, well,
that's probably something that all the treasurers need to know how to do, because it ain't simple.
Well, it actually, if your receipts are generally less than $50,000 a year, it is very, very straightforward. It's about a 5 or 10 minute process to file the postcard 990N tax return. But if your activity is greater than 50,000, then it's going to be a little bit more complicated. Matthew, we can take that. I'd be happy to talk to you offline about the filing requirements and what type of form 990 your club needs to file. I actually, unfortunately, have a lot of experience in that area in my former job and also working with Serra. So be happy to take that offline and work with you, Matthew, if you'll just reach out to me.
Absolutely. Fine.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. Mike, did you want to cover this collections discussion? We've got a couple examples here of how.
I don't think this is. If we had time, I thought it'd be fun to everybody to share their different approaches on this. But I just wanted to let people know what some clubs do. And again, my club is the one that I've used as an example. Bill Cook's been really excellent at this. He's kind of our Guido. But he just kind of on page 7A at the top, he goes through his list of what he does in terms of trying to collect dues from members that are late. on the bottom of 7A, this is an example from, and I use Des Moines because it's a large club. It's the third largest club in the world. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania's got 22 members, so it's one of the smaller clubs, Lehigh Valley, but they do the same thing and just give some examples there. I don't know that we need to spend a lot of time on that at this point, Ed. I don't think there's any magic here. It's just be polite, but be persistent, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's perseverance. Follow up, and don't become too much of a pest, though. I mean, we don't want to run people off because we're being too aggressive. All these forms and documents are available on serraus.org. I would encourage you, if you have not gone there, to go there. It's very easy to navigate and find all of these things that we have bulleted here. There's a lot of additional information. You can find there's actually, in preparing for this call this evening, I went to serrausa.org and quickly found maybe it was the last treasurer training that Mike did, and I was on. It's out there, and so everything we're going over tonight is you can open it up and listen to it. If you want to listen to it again, we probably covered pretty much the same stuff we did then from a couple years ago. But a lot of good information at serraus.org. I don't want to belabor that, but just go out, check it out if you haven't done that before.
And I'll just add, if you go to serraus.org, you land on the homepage, but there are tabs across the top. The tab you'd be interested in is club resources, and there's a drop-down menu there. You can go to the treasurer, or you can go to frequently requested and find a lot of these documents. So,
yep. Thank you, Mike. Very, very easy to navigate with those tabs. Set up in a kind of a top-down, drill-down type format that I think most of us are familiar with that have been around for a while. Let me just kind of summarize. Here's the top 10. My top 10, and you might notice that number 1 and 2 are repeated at the bottom as number 9 and 10. I mentioned that we're a member organization, and it's all about the membership roster and count, keeping it accurate, up to date. And then the lifeblood of any member organization are the club dues, and then the payment of the amount that's due to SI in the USA. We've covered everything else in here, but this is my top 10, and so just share that with you. And Mike, we've got about 5 minutes left. What's the treasurer's prayer? I believe this is a prayer that any questions? Candace is reminding me, our president-elect of Serra USA is reminding me to stop and see if there's any questions. Are there any questions?
What is Downey's email address? I want to send him my standard report.
Hey, that'd be great. This is Matt, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, my address is Mike, M-I-K-E, Downey, which is D-O-W-N-E-Y, at Downey, DOWNEY.com.
And when you send that to Mike, you might copy me as well, Matthew. Sounds like what you have is a terrific package. So
okay. So what's your email?
I'm sorry?
What's your email?
It's in the presentation. Tyrrell 88.
What? Say again.
Tyrrr.
Done. I'll find it here.
ELL 88 at gmail.com. Apparently, I'm the 88th Tyrrell. There must be 87 before me.
It's on slide 15.
It should be up there, I hope.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, it's on that slide. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for navigating for us. All right. Let's go back to where we were. Any other questions, comments?
I do have one comment about collections. We've had a couple of situations that were very difficult for us to kind of work with because of some things that happened in the family but they were good Serrans and had been for years. We established a scholarship fund. It's one of the things that we indicate on our billing that people donate to the scholarship fund. The scholarship fund is a private kind of a fund, not private away from the bank, but just we don't talk about it a lot. But if a member is on hard times and we want to pay their dues, we pay it out of the scholarship fund that's been funded by others that have just made a donation from time to time. And as Mike said earlier, you'd be surprised that people will make a small extra $10 or whatever added to their dues to help a good need. We build up a fund that we can help 3 or 4 members a year if we needed to pay their dues for 6 months or a year. And then usually those people, when they get back on their feet, are the first ones to donate to the scholarship fund. Only the president and the treasurer know who is in that group. We don't want to embarrass anybody, or I don't want to take charity. So you might give some consideration to establishing a way to help those that might be on hard times.
That's a great comment. That was from Homer Radford, who's the in the Southeast Kansas City Club in the Kansas City area. One other option along those same lines, we didn't talk about this, but on page 7B of the support documents, there is the Serra Club of Lehigh Valley. They have a very unusual structure. They do not collect dues per se. They have a suggested amount. They ask people to pay what you can. And because they have a few people that are in that situation Homer was talking about, being up at hard times. And it's interesting, Jane Herrera, who was the treasurer of this club, I don't think she's on the call tonight, but she told me that since they've done this, they have never come out behind. They've asked people to pay either the recommended amount or more, and people have done that enough so that it's been able to help the people that haven't been able to pay the full dues. Just an idea. I throw it out. It's a small club. Work for them. I'm not sure it would work for a great big club, but maybe it would. Who knows?
Flexibility at the club level. So that's great. Homer, thank you for sharing that. That's terrific what you have in place, the scholarship fund. Mike Downey, I believe this is a prayer that you crafted. You put pen to paper, and so Mike, did you want to lead us in the treasurer's prayer?
Yeah, I'd be glad to here. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord Jesus Christ, grant me, the treasurer, the grace to be a good steward of my club's financial resources, patient and understanding, yet persistent in collecting dues from our members, timely and accurate in making deposits and paying approved expenses, helpful with financial guidance to make future club events successful, gracious in accepting financial gifts to our club, and joy-filled by the knowledge that my work, especially the most tedious and detailed, is indispensable to the success of my club in achieving the Serra mission. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Mike's nephew is a.
Say, Mike, can I just give a recommendation for tax software?
Yeah.
In Kansas City.
Who is this? Say your name, please.
Yeah, I'm Richard Layden. I'm the treasurer at Kansas City in Kansas.
Yep.
And when the IRS went to an electronic filing requirement for the 990EZ, I found a company called form990.org, and they're free filing up to 100,000 and it's very, very good software. And I've had no problems with filing through them electronically. And it's good rates above 100,000.
Why don't you repeat that name for people?
Form 990, one consecutive letters there, .org.
I think I may have used those for some other organizations that I filed Form 990EZ for. You're one of, I'm going to say, one of the unfortunate clubs. Unfortunate for you that you have to complete the Form 990EZ because of the amount of activity, the amount of income and expenses in your club. You have to file a more fulsome return. With the
Uh,
990N, you basically just have to answer about 4 or 5 questions. The postcard return and you're done. It's a 5-minute exercise. So, but that's 990. What is it again? 990.
Form 990.
Form FORM 990.org. And they keep your, for those that don't know it, the 990EZ, you have to maintain 5 years of a summary total, and they automatically move 4 years of that and just add the last year. So it's quite easy.
Thanks for sharing that.
RE.
Easy for you, not so easy for others, I think.
PORTS.
Mike, I think we're at the end. I think there may be another slide, so we just say thank you to everybody for being treasurers and being on this call, listening to us tonight.
Serra.
Appreciate everybody's participation.
Yeah, it looks like we got a pretty good turnout too. This is the first time I've got a chance to see everybody's faces.
Well, thank you, Mike and Ed.
Thank you, Mike.
And if you have
Thank
any
everybody.
recommendations, if you have any
See you
recommendations,
tomorrow.
Ed and I, about improving this, let us know. I've already taken some pretty good notes on your recommendations at this point, so
I produced.
thank you.